In this tutorial we will learn more about the tables. So first we will create a new file, and after creating it we can give it a name. So previous one was lecture 4 part 1, so we can create another folder and we can call it lecture 4 part 2, because it's a continuous series of tables which we studied last time. So we can also call it index.html like we did previously. And then what we will do is we will open this file, and if we go back to our folder and open it, and then we will be able to see that file over here in the browser. So for testing, if we just type in test and refresh our page, and then we will be able to see the test over here. So as you remember that about the tables, so before that we will start the tag as HTML like we always do, and in the HTML we know that it has a tag of head, and then as well in the head we have title, so we can similarly call that as table, for example. And in the body we will play with the table. So the first thing we will study now, which will be the row span. So we will see that how actually the row span work in the tables. So if we just save it now, and because our auto save is on, so it will be automatically saving our tutorial. So if we see over here, then we can see that it's saying that row span. So we need to learn about row span, and then we will learn about call span accordingly. So to understand row span, let's first create a simple table, and in that table we will create some data inside the rows. So for example, in first row I say an example we can take of a geometry example. So if I will say, okay, I have a rectangle, and then similarly if then we can say that in the next row that we have a square, and then we can say that okay, we can have a triangle, for example. You can take any example to learn this, but I am taking this one to explain you much better. So if we do refresh that, and then we can see, okay, it's rectangle, square and triangle over here. So in the last lecture you have also learned about the borders, so you can apply the borders to the tables as well. So to see this, we can add a style tag, and to the table we can, for example, if we try to add a border, and we said okay, we need 1 pixel solid black border. Okay, solid black border. How was it in the CSS? Okay, I think I have added this extra. It should, the semicolon, it should be on the last always. So if we refresh it, we see that it's around the full table. Then if we say okay, if we need it against the rows as well, and if we say that, for example, if we need it against the table data as well, then it will be against the table data as well. And then for example, now okay, to see the call span, so in rectangle how many corners do we have? So actually in rectangles we have 4 corners, right? And in square we also do have 4 corners, and also in the triangle, in the geometry we have 3 triangle corners. So if we do refresh that, then right, so we can see over here that rectangle is 4, square is 4, and triangle is 3 corners. But here we saw a problem is that because rectangle and square have same columns, same corners, which is 4. So then we should need to check that why it's repeatedly showing here. Then what we can do is, if we remove this and we apply a row span over here, then we can check how it behaves. So because there are two columns to cover, then that's why we are putting as 2. So now you can see over here, right, that rectangle and square both have 4 corners. That's why we are putting the row span. So row span basically covers your rows area. Okay, so then similarly, like we just saw about the row span, if we try out our call span, then we can see that how that will work. So let's try that out. And if we just copy and paste and refresh, so it's a row span. Let's change it to call span. To test the call span, so let's create a table. For example, we create a new table, and in that table we create a row, and in that row let's study about the programming languages. So for example, there are two types of programming languages, but one is high level, and obviously the second one is the low level programming languages. Then we can also add caption to this table, and we can call it programming languages. So if we do save it and refresh, so we can see over here, okay, high level programming languages and low level programming languages. So if we add some high level and low level programming languages over in here, so as we know that high level languages are which are more user friendly and more near to the human languages. So for example, Java, PHP, and similarly we do have Visual Basic, C#. These kind of languages are high level languages. So C#, if we put over here. Now if we see that, okay, if we put same over here, the low level languages as well. For example, we have assembly, and for other one is called the machine code language, right? Machine code. So if we refresh our table, then we will see, oh, here we see a problem, because high level is only covering the PHP section and low level is covering the Java, but we need high level till Java, VB, and C, then if we see over here, we need to put call span to cover this. So how many things we need to cover? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we try over here 4 and then refresh, then we can see rightly so that it's covering the high level languages, right? But it's not covering the low level languages, both languages. So then we need to put the call span for the low languages, because we have added 2 low level languages, so we can put, so I put C here, or you can put the C# or C, both are high level languages, no issue. So if we refresh, and then we can see, okay, now it's covering up the both. So you can make the border center, the table data center, and apply some CSS. But mainly, so you have understand now the concept of row span and call span. There is one more concept which is called call group. So if you want to put something in, to put the CSS properties for a column of the groups, you can put there. So if we try over here and we put in this table, for example, we put a call group section, and in that group section it will cover the columns actually. So if we put a background, style, and background color red, and then we will see that how it will look like. So if we refresh it, so now you can see it's covering the columns of this. So this is how you can put the call group, and you can also put the span for the call group to cover things. accordingly, if you want to put for 1, 2, or if you put for a specific table row. So after the row span, call span, and call group, now I will show you few assignments which you will do later on after completing this tutorial learning. So let's jump into our assignments. Our assignments are, as you know that you have studied the call span, row span, so our assignments will be accordingly also the call group. So in the first lecture you learned about the table borders and everything, so you will be working on this assignment for that, and here you will try to implement the call groups for the row and for the columns accordingly, and you can change the background style accordingly and apply some span tag and see that how that will work. Secondly, I have also make assignment something like you are creating, for example, a real website. So real website, you know that have header, navigation menu, content, main content and footer. So you using table you will create this, and I'm sure you will be able to implement the row spans and call spans accordingly, so it will show things properly. And in the next assignment there is one more, that in this assignment you need to also play with row spans and call spans to make a sheet for the students, because if there is a row thing, then you will apply the row span, and if there is a column thing, then you will try out the column spans accordingly. Then in the next assignment, that is more interesting, so maybe it's new for you. You need to learn about the image tags as well. So you need to learn the image tag img and try to make this table with a caption, and you can put the park, location, established. These are the table headings, and this is here you need to also implement the call span because it's covering 2 columns, and then you can show over here one image, and accordingly you can show some text in against one column as by using the call span too. The last assignment is more close, and here you need to implement the table. So what you will do, so you will create a table. In the first row you will create 3 images, then second row you will create 3 h1 maybe or h2, you can try it, and then you can try out simple text or you can apply paragraphs as well. And in the next 4th row, here you will also put the images, and you will also put the again h1 or h2 in the 5th row and in the 6th row. And also whole body you need to give this light yellow color as a background. So for example, how you can implement it, you can see over here. So here you can put some style background color. So if I just put this one over here which is showing, so you can see it's applied over here. So in this assignment you will implement something like that. You can pick this color from the image and implement it. So okay, good luck with the assignments. See you in the next lecture soon.